Welcome viewers to the Thought Leader Show. My guest today is Vandana Maheshwari, National President of Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs, also known as COWI. Well, COWI organized the Business Women Expo 2022, which by account has been a very successful event with over 250 women entrepreneurs from across India participating in it, both through installing of their stalls and attending various B2B meets. But this was the first event post-COVID lockdown, and we are here to understand what were the challenges, how did the whole process come together to pull off an event like this, which is a 3-day event with some of the key guests appearing participating at the event. Welcome, Vandana. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Major.
So I must first congratulate you, having pulled off you and your team.
Yeah, it was a team effort, of course, and yes, we did do a very good show. But yes, support from everybody all across, and my team, the media, Startup TV, of course. I could not have done this show without them. So it was a good, successful event and a benchmark for us, which we need to raise higher now.
Also, this was the first time, right? You had done it at that scale. Where
yes,
you had
we did do a pilot program in 2021, wherein we were just trying to see how an offline show would work. But we had very few stalls then, and footfalls were good, but people were still skeptical to come and come in public places, and were very scared of what the next wave would be like. So we didn't do very well that time, but we had footfalls around 8,000. This year, of course, we beat every record possible.
So before I get into the event, how the event came about, just for the benefit of people out there who probably would not know much about COWI, just tell us what COWI is all about.
So COWI is a 17-year-old organization which was started by 6 first-generation entrepreneurs who had the passion of empowering women through entrepreneurship. So that is how COWI was conceptualized in a small room, where we all actually sat on the floor and thought about it, and then we gave a go-ahead. And initially these 6 women were the pioneers who actually pulled in money to start the organization. And today we are a 1,000+ member strong organization with chapters across 11 states. And we've been actually doing advocacy with the government, taking government schemes to our women members. And we are doing international shows where women get lots of exposure, and they are doing marketing. So a lot of inter countries assignments are happening, and there's lots of business coming in, exports are happening. So things are working good for the entrepreneurs, and we are very happy doing that yes, we are doing something for the women to empower them. And in general, particularly if I have to say, I would not want women be empowered. I feel the humanity at large should be empowered, so that they treat each other with equality.
Well, I think that was also one of the underlying message, during the 3-day event, isn't it?
Yes. So
where guest after guest kind of spoke about that.
Yes, this year's Women's Day United Nations theme was that gender equality, break the bias kind of a thing. I don't think the bias needs to be broken. It is more so that people should respect each other, be it a male or a female, doesn't matter. They each should be allowed to work in their own spheres, rather than putting stigmas on this is for boys and this is for girls. That is not what is done. Also
more relevant right now with where we are accepting the gender neutral
yes.
also situation also. So that's the point, right?
Yes.
That now it's not about male or female, it's about neutral gender.
Neutral
it doesn't
gender,
matter who
yes,
it is,
yes. So I think we should be there for each other, to lift each other up and empower everybody at large. So we should start at when children are very young, trying to tell them that yes, everything is. Because on a recent visit in Australia, when I happened to talk to my niece while she was doing tailoring classes, and I asked her, what you are doing tailoring, what do your the boys in the class do? So they also do tailoring, and I was surprised. I said in India it would be no, the boys would be doing something else and the girls would be doing tailoring. But for them it is the boys do carpentry, we also do carpentry. So that is one thing that really made me feel good. Yes, there's no bias as such, and everybody is taught to do everything. So I think we should move more towards a gender neutral society.
I think just to from my time, I'm from Kendriya Vidyalaya. So in central schools, we used to have this period where 2 classes dedicated for people to learn these soft skills, and boys and girls did it, together, knitting, as you said, sewing, all of that. So I think now that needs to become kind of
bigger,
bigger in all private schools,
yes,
government
yes,
schools.
yes.
Everybody needs to do that.
Because I come from a girls' school mostly, and we were taught ki, okay, your baking or cooking or the home science would be a subject for the girls. Yes. And we never thought carpentry could be a subject for girls. But now gradually, I think when we are moving around, and especially the government schemes which have taken us abroad, and let us meet people abroad and see how they function and how they are progressing. So same things we have been trying to inculcate into our members also.
That's really good. So coming to the COVE itself, you also run multiple programs.
Yes.
If you could just quickly talk about kind of programs you do for the benefit of women entrepreneurs. And it is, I believe it is from very early, as in aspiring women entrepreneurs to established entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Right?
So what we basically specialize in is making a woman understand. So from the stage of ideation, we take her to the stage of success. So there, lots of steps are there where she might want to do something but does not know what to do. So there EDPs come in. Those are the entrepreneurial development programs. So where we kind of give the women ideas as to what could be their field of interest and what could kind of, for everybody, I think ultimately earning is a factor which becomes priority, because that's why you want to do something to get your financial independence. So there, once they do the EDP programs, they understand that yes, this is my field of interest and I would like to start work in it. So then we kind of tell them how they have to register their businesses, how they can start, how they can get a loan. And where loans are concerned, recently we have been doing webinars with SIDBI. So we have been promoting the Stand Up India loan, and that is where SIDBI has kind of made us their partner in it, and we've already concluded a series of 20 webinars and started the second season for it, and we've already done 3 webinars on that. So where we bring in an expert speaker, we try to find out industry experts who could speak on a particular industry, and then we find a banker who would say how do you go about these loans, and we also get the SUI beneficiary who would talk of her journey of how difficult or easy it was to get the loan. So there it gives the entrepreneur or the to-be entrepreneur insight into how she could start her business, and then also get the feel ki yes, there are others who are doing businesses and are getting successful, so I could also do it.
Okay. Also, before I come to the event as such, there is also you're launching a young entrepreneur women, which is a young entrepreneur, a young COVE. Young COVE.
Yes.
That's targeting the colleges, right?
College
you
students,
want to talk about
yes.
College students.
So basically, when a girl is about to pass out of college, the only thing that is prime in her mind is, okay, the campus interviews will happen. I'll probably get selected in one of the companies, do a cushy job, or maybe whatever job is available for some time, get married, have children, the normal routine. But then we try to inculcate the culture of entrepreneurship at that stage. So they have that if I start now, I could probably, by the time my children grow up and I will have a settled business also to run. So then I will have my financial independence, would not have to depend on or would not have to think, can I do it now at that stage, maybe 10 years down the line. So it is, we started this in Telangana way back in 2014, but we've been gradually spreading across states, and recently we launched the second college, Young COVE, second college in Bengaluru. So girls have been very excited about it, and they are actually thinking yes, things are there for them too, so they want to be a part of it in a big way.
So coming back to the event, by all accounts, when we hear, because we were there at the 3 days event, what we heard from people, be it people who were running the stalls, who had put up stalls, people who were entrepreneurs who are part of the B2B meetings, people who walked in, walk-ins, each one of them kind of shared their experience and their feedback, and all of them said this is one of the very good events. How was it for you? I mean, what kind of feedback did you get?
I think the hugs and the admirations that I got from the stall owners, the exhibitors, was just beyond an expression. I cannot express what my feeling was. But ultimately the satisfaction was that the exhibitors going back home happy, and that's what all counted for us.
Perfect.
So
you also had a B2B meeting which was first of its kind, right? Or done
yes.
by COA. And what was it, if you can talk about that, and what kind of a success did you have at the end?
So this time what we targeted was many of the MSME registered exhibitors who would want, and MSME also had a scheme under which the exhibitors would get their stall cost reimbursements. So we invited a lot of them to participate. Some of them were hesitant, but when we explained the benefits of the scheme, they were ready to come in. So in this concept, we got 11 participants from Gujarat, which was a huge number, because normally people are hesitant, ki what would be the benefit for me. And then when we got the exhibitors list, we knew what kind of participants were there. So connecting them to the B2B tie-ups would be easier for us. And we also kind of sent a mailer around to them who all would be interested in participating in the B2Bs and who wanted to upscale their business. So because B2B means your production has to be bulk and your supply also has to be bulk. So we had the hospitality industry, the hotel industry, we had the retail industry, and we had Greenco as one of the companies which is into many verticals. So these people came, and when we had the list of the exhibitors who wanted to, not only the exhibitors, there were others also from outside this zone also who wanted to be a part of the B2B. We connected them with and we gave them a one-on-one for 15 minutes. We slotted the timings and everything. And when we connected, many of them have now come back saying, ki, yes, you did a great job, and they've got post B2B meeting inquiries. So I think about 3 of them have also culminated into business. So they've got big business orders for that.
That's commendable, you know.
Yes.
Not just they got to showcase and meet a potential customer, but also got orders from them, which
yes.
is really good, because that's, I think, one of the things with these kind of events should be, how do you bring businesses where they can work together, get some business from each other.
So in the B2Bs, Usha Palyat, of course, I would give all credibility to her, because without her it would not have been possible, and assisting her was Nalini Kumar. So these two scheduled the meetings, gave the idea to the suppliers, the exhibitors, that this is what you should be pitching in for. So that also kind of helped, and when these people came back to us saying ki you did a wonderful job in guiding us to, you know, that's where they are taking their businesses to the next level, and we are very happy for them, of course, because that's what our aim was ultimately.
And you know, one of the highlights was you were able to pull, you know, Kavita Garu, who's MLC from TRS, which a lot of people actually thought they would, you know, probably given the corona and busy schedules, and I think the assembly was also in play. You know, getting VIPs is difficult, but because these kind of things are important from a standpoint of such events, because it draws media, it creates awareness, and you know, there's organic promotion of the event. So how did that happen?
So till 5 days before the event, I think I was clueless as to who the chief guest is going to be, and I just happened to get a meeting fixed up with Kavita Garu, and she was graceful enough to kind of accept our invitation. But with politicians, the question mark is also always there whether she would come or not come. But when she had the way she said it, and my instinct always tells me whether I am in the right path or not. So when she said yes, I will be there, I was sure she would be there. So I never had a plan B in place, if this does not work, what will happen? Because I was very sure she would be coming. And thanks to her, in spite of some personal issues, she did come and said I would have to stay for very little time if that's okay. I said perfectly all right, as long as you're keeping your commitment to come. That's what matters more for us. So she came, we had a roaring inauguration, and everything was just super about the event.
And also during the inauguration itself, she made quite a few commitments for COVE, isn't it?
Yes,
going forward?
so we made her one of the advisors for COVE. We gave her an advisory position, and now she is all ready to take COVE to the next level. So we did, we did connect with her again, and she said that she would be wanting to bring whatever government schemes there are for women entrepreneurs, and we just have to identify the schemes, just take them to her, and then she would see how she could work forward with us. So yes, we are looking forward to a lot of good work for women entrepreneurs.
And what is it for you personally, now that you're also, will be relinquishing your, post? What next for you personally?
Oh, I think exhibitions has been my passion, so I would continue doing that. So post or no post doesn't matter for me, because post is just the chair that actually should not be counting too much, because ultimately it's the work that you're wanting to do, not for the chair, but for the personal satisfaction you get out of it, or the smiles I see on other women's faces. Those are enough for me. I'm not there for a post, so it's just all right. I mean, exhibitions is my passion, and I would like to take this expo to the next level, maybe international one day. So I'm working towards it. And yesterday I did happen to go to MSME to submit the post-event documents and everything. So I was telling them also, the director there, that I want to take it global, and he was quite excited. Yes, let's do it. So hopefully, I mean, we will be there one day. So maybe my target is within the next 5 years, I should be taking it global.
And also, as you have 11 chapters, probably, have each chapter having a similar event in their respective cities.
Yes, so that is what I'm planning, and this nice thing about this scheme is that each entrepreneur can participate in 2 domestic exhibitions with the government subsidy and 1 international. So we want to make the most of it. I mean, get the maximum benefit out of these schemes, which we could give it to our members. So we are working on it, and now I think the pandemic has become endemic, so let's hope for the best now.
And most part of your presidency was during lockdown and pandemic. What has been your experience, and what's your takeaway?
We had a lot of things happening online, if not offline, and for me, when we conceptualized this expo, it was the doubt was there whether we would do it or not, because Omicron was rampant at that time. But again, my instinct works for me, and I said, because we had another almost 2 months there, and I said by that time the Omicron wave will be gone, done and dusted kinds, and yes, I proved my gut that it worked. So.
Well, thank you, Vandana. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you again in some of our shows.
Thank you, Major. Thank you so much for inviting me for this show. Thank you.